everybody, and welcome to this walkthrough of the Textguide with me, Mr. RJTV. Hello.
What is going on, man? Just studying these notes I've been working on to bring for the viewers.
Awesome.
How about you, man? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. You know, it's I heard it's a special day today. It's a day I've been looking forward to for a very long time. You know, and. Yeah, I don't know if you know that yourself. You're 1 year closer to 50 today. So
Yeah, not the way that I like to say it, but yes, I am. But technically, the other week, you're 1 year closer to 52. It's just going to take a lot longer.
Yeah, that's true. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Everyone that's watching, please get some happy birthdays in the comments down below for RJTV. And, you know, as always, we're here, not maybe as always, but we're trying as always to be here, talking you through the text guides. And before I start, some quick information. You have the video description down below. There you can find a link to the text guides for the Easter Open tournament. It's open for everyone. And if you do want to get the updated text guides, which is text guides where I do explain in detail how to take your shot, with everything, all from spin, elevation to curl, yeah, you name it, everything that you need to know based on the tournament win. Those will be out on Tuesday and are only for Patreons. So the link to patreon.com/golf-tommy is in the video description down below. Last but not least, you do have It's RJTV, you do have this channel here as well. Do not forget to subscribe. And yeah, it's time to start. So, so Easter Open tournament. Are you gonna dress up to anything fun, or are you just gonna dress up to what you have today, or no?
See, I wasn't planning on it, but now that you mentioned something, I'm probably going to run up to Walgreens and get like some bunny ears or something goofy like that. What about you? What about you?
I'm actually gonna, so it's gonna be, I didn't say anything before, but I'm actually gonna, so it's, I think I'm gonna, on Wednesday or Thursday or something like that, I'm gonna be dressed up at something fun, like a full suit-ish
Oh, awesome. Breaking news. You heard it here first.
Yeah. So, okay, with that said, we're gonna go and play a mix of the Sunshine Glades and the Sakura Hills. Even though the Sunshine Glades are dark as the pictures, they are not dark. It's bright when we play them, so the sun is shining, so just have that in mind. Those pictures are from the Ghostly Glades tournament, which was in Halloween-ish, something like that. So, hole number 1, par 4. How do we play this one from front tee?
There are 2 different ways to play this hole, as you can see on the map. Usually I pick a line and I stick with it, but both of these lines are equally as good. You know, sometimes depending on wind, sometimes depending on, you know, if you like to rough bump, things like that. So anyway, I have land on the right side. So we're talking the black line by the sand. Now you'll see right where his black box is, the sand kind of goes up and over. You want to look and aim right by that little pad there, and you want to go with a bare minimum of 2.5 backspin. Otherwise, you won't be able to take this shot. If you have more, great. Just watch your ball guide. Make sure it doesn't, you know, dip you into the sand. And remember, if we have a tailwind, it will extend your ball guide. We'll get into that later. Tommy might cover that, I'm not certain. But anyway, you're going to go full left curl, full left spin. I would say go with a katana ball here at least, because you're going to want that full spin. And hop over, and hopefully you get on the putting surface. If not, you'll have an easy chip. Or if you want, you can also go with a Kingmaker or possibly even a Titan, but you know, that's up to you on what balls you have, and use the white line. And in using the white line, you could do a rough bump, and you can get yourself, what would that be, an albatross, even though technically it's a hole-in-one?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a -3 in the scorecard at least. And you know, right. You're right. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the extended and the compressed ball guideline, because it's sure in rookie it's gonna be something to have in mind, but the wind is often so low, so it's not gonna affect that much. But it's good to have in mind. But when we play from second tee, we're going to play with a driver that gives us at least 5 bars backspin. And we will be able to bounce over even with like a 3.5 bar backspin in crosswind, but once we get tailwind, it's going to be hard to get the ball to stop due to the extended ball guideline. So, and yes, and yeah, I can't help. So when so like a Thor's hammer would be perfect. It would be good with, you know, with an extra mile that is upgraded as well, which has like 4.5 bar backspin. So please try to get and to play with a club with 5 bars backspin. Although if you don't have that, you play with one that do have like the most. Otherwise, like 3.5, 4 bars, something like that. We're gonna bounce over according to the black line every single time. We will not having the distance playing according to the rough bump. 20% downhill, which is a lot. The easiest thing you do, you add that to the wind, and then you're gonna then you're gonna make your adjustment from that. As much side spin to the right, to the left possible as well, and then maybe some left curl depending on how aggressive you want to be. I do think though that if you can just secure an eagle here, which is a must because we do need to have an eagle here, it doesn't really matter what wind we're having, but we need to have an eagle. When we play from Master Chief, we do have a crosswind or a tailwind, we can bounce over, but as soon as we get a little bit of a headwind, we cannot reach over this hole. Then we have to play for a line that is not existing there, but we do need to play ourselves up on the right side of the bunker, or we just have to land at the first black marker, or like let the ball stop there, and then we're gonna have a wedge or a short iron towards the pin. That's the two ways that you play it in headwind in Master. Otherwise we're gonna try to play it the same way in every division if the wind is allowing us to do that. So we do need to play with a power 3 ball from second and also from 30, even though we might want to play with a ball that do have wind resistance, but no, we do want to play with a ball that gives us distance. So that was hole number 1. Hole number 2, par 5. How do we play hole number 2?
Again, you know, I really like both sides. I like the black, I like the white. So let me just cover them as I have in my notes. First of all, 10% off the drive. Not as important in rookie, but it's still, you want to make the adjustments if you're in rookie. But yeah, 10%. Extra mile Marlin, right side. Now, it doesn't have to be a Marlin. A Marlin's kind of like the poor man's ball, if you want to say. I hate to put it that way, but it's like, you know, if you're trying to save balls, you don't have many gems, things like that, you could use a Marlin. You want to go as close to full topspin. Now, if your ball guide shows you that you are going to go into the rough, obviously lay up just a little bit, but not too much, because your second shot is going to be with a big dog. That's why I say the Marlin it'll work. It's not like the best tool that you have. Anytime you use a big dog, you usually want to pair it up with something with a little bit of power. With the big dog, you would go full left spin. If you land your drive right, which is right where his black square is there, you will use about 4 top spin with the big dog. And you're also going to need full left curl because you're going to be staring at a tree right in the way. However, the big dog has enough curl to where we can go around it and you can still end up on the green or with an easy chip in front of the green. However, you could also drive to the left with a power 3 ball. You're probably going to need max over power, but that's dependent on wind. If we have a decent wind at our back, you might not need that max over power. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. It's a more dangerous shot because in rookie, we're playing with very inaccurate extra mile type clubs. And if you hit a great, you could end up in the water, you could end up in the sand, probably not the sand, but in the rough, and then that just takes away all possibilities of getting the eagle. But it gives you such an easier second shot. As you can see, that white line is straight. So there is definitely the opportunity with a sniper or a viper to get it on in and go with the albatross, or get yourself the super easy eagle.
Yeah, I think you summed that one up very well because it's the same really for pro and expert and also master key. If we start with the one from second tee, we are playing with what can I say, with a driver that gives us distance. We're gonna play according to the white line in crosswind and in tailwind. If we do have headwind, we will have to play according to the black line. So I hope we're not gonna see like a massive headwind. Max topspin if we play on the left side and try to gain as much distance as possible there. Then we do have a sniper that gonna come in very very handy. There is also, you know, if we gain enough distance there, we're gonna play with a long iron, and then we're gonna have a possibility to go straight to the pin there as well. There is a rough bump by the green, which is a big possibility. I actually made that rough bump as an albatross in the latest time we have this tournament, so I have a I remember that one very well. And you know, if we do have headwind, we play over by the black line, we do need a second club with a lot of curl to curl it around the trees. But as we said, both me and RJ before the stream, if we do a play on the right side according to the black line, we can basically see that as a way to just get the eagle. If we do want to see ourselves in a way going for the albatross, we do need to play according to the white line, even though that drive is more aggressive than the one on the right. So last but not least, master. If we do have a crosswind or a headwind, I would say that playing on the left is going to be very risky. Tailwind in some form, even though tailwind and crosswind, then it's gonna be good with playing on the left side. But as soon as we get crosswind or crosswind headwind or headwind, I think we need to go and play according to the black line, and then this hole is gonna be super tough because, you know, with a great shot with a 12 mile per hour crosswind or something like that, will be very hard to get to the place that we're aiming for. 10% downhill for the drive. Second shot is 0. Have that in mind, even though it looks like it's gonna be a little bit more, but it's 0. So then we do have hole number 3. Hole number 3, I would say this is one. You know, I don't know if you agree with me, but this is, in my opinion, one of the easiest par 3 there is in the whole game.
Yes. I think that is definitely very fair to say. The one thing that's super important to your success on this hole is the 20% adjustment. If you make that 20% adjustment, here goes. The last one was long, this one's short. I recommend you bring a backbone, a basic ball. Use 2 backspin. That's it. What do you got, Tommy?
Yeah, I kind of almost have the same. It's just that we do need to change clubs here a little bit. We are going to, depending on the wind, from second tee, play with either a long iron or with a wood club. And then, of course, the wood club is going to be a sniper. And the long iron is going to be whatever you prefer. When it comes to master, we are going to play with either a wood club or with a driver. And then it's going to be a sniper, or it's going to be a quarterback or a rocket. And, you know, spin wise is gonna change, so I'm not gonna go into those type of detail. But if you know, as RJ said as well, 20% downhill, if you have that in your mind when you play, that is gonna help you getting this ball towards the pin. This is going to be a hole where a lot of people is gonna make a hole in one, and I'm saying a lot of people, I'm not meaning like 90%, but a decent percentage of the player base is going to have a hole in one at this hole at some point. The only little detail tip I can give on this one: aim a little bit to the left of the pin, because the green slopes a little bit from the left to the right. So you rather want to come in from left to right than you want to go straight at the pin. Then you will most likely miss a little bit to the right. So we don't really have that much on that one. Super basic par 3. The only thing, once again, the 20% downhill. Hole number 4. Backspin is the key, I heard.
Yes, it is. For the second shot, that would be. Hole number 4, 10%, so nothing huge, but definitely matters. Extra mile, only use 3 topspin. Obviously, you know, if we have a wind pushing our ball, that could always change. But I'm just saying, don't go max topspin on all extra miles, because you could find yourself in the rough, which makes the second shot a lot harder. I would go with a full right spin as well, with a marlin ball. You might want to put a hair of curl on it, but it's not 100% necessary. It's just very important to get your drive up there as close as you can to the rough, but not dangerously close, but as close as you're comfortable getting to the rough, and also a little bit to the right side, because that will set you up for a second shot with the thorn. And we're going to need every bit of backspin that we have. And a lot of rookies don't have a Saturn, if it does go long iron. So with the second shot, we are going to be deducting 10% of the wind because it is uphill a little bit. And if you're going to try the thorn dunk, it's an excellent opportunity to do that. However, a lot of people might be scared because if you do hit the pin, and we're talking rookies here as well, that pin will send you flying into the sand. So another thing you can do is have your first bounce land on the fringe. And then, again, this is wind dependent. If we have a really strong wind in our face, you're probably going to want to push it up a little bit more. This will land you safely on the putting surface for an easy putt. We do not want to end up in the sand, and we do not want to end up with a really long putt here.
Yes, and that's kind of what I will come to as well in the end. Is the drive is pretty basic. The only thing to have in mind here that if we do have a tailwind, if we're talking pro and expert, we do have a slice here. And the slice will possibly put ourselves on the green. That will be tough to get it there, but very close to it. And if that wind is going to be in the tournament, then I'm going to go for the slice to put myself close to the bunker to then have a wedge for the pin, instead of trying to get to the green and end up into the sand or into the rough and have to struggle with hitting the ball perfect. But that's that's kind of like a real special thing, and the wind is so dependent on that one. Otherwise, we'll play straight down the middle, try to gain as much distance combined with as much to the right possible. The more to the right, the shorter shot we're gonna have for the second shot, and that's something that is super important when it comes to going for every type of shot. The shorter we are towards the pin, the easier the backspin approach is going to be. Then we don't have to go for the dunk. But if we do have, let's say we are a fair amount of distance away from that and we do have a tailwind in our back, the only way here to get this ball to get in the hole is to either go for the dunk, or you will have to go for a way of going to bounce on the fairway just before the fringe. And we don't want to bounce on that fairway. That's riskier than going for the dunk. But as RJ say, going for the dunk is going to risk hitting the pin and fall back into the sand. But if we do go with a backspin approach, we're not going to have enough room for the ball to fall back towards the pin with tailwind. So that's kind of I don't know what to call it, but somewhere like it's a crap situation really, and we do need to take the decision from what we feel most confident in doing. If we do have a crosswind, I do believe the dunk is going to be the best opportunity to get there. Headwind, we're going to go the full backspin approach because the compressed ball guideline is going to help us get the ball back towards the pin. When you go for the dunk on this hole, it's when it's uphill, and for all dunks when it's uphill you need to aim for the back end of the cup. That's super important because otherwise you're most likely gonna fall short, and that's something that happens for a lot of people that maybe they don't pay attention to when that is expressed, or that they might never have dunked before, and it looks like, I'm aiming straight at the pin, why do I go short? But for some reason the dunking part works like that. When you play in uphill, you're going to aim for the back end of the cup, and that's going to make your ball fall in the center. Last but not least, if we do have a tailwind, and I'm talking a straight tailwind now, then we can actually think about going according to the white line. That's more preferred in Master because I know we play that line way back in the day. This was a long time ago we had this one in the tournament. With a straight wind, with a globe, it was with a snow globe, which is a power 5 wind 0 ball. It was basically, if we had a high wind like an 18 and a half, we drove directly over to the fairway, bounced with backspin up towards the pin, and had an easy putt. Tough shot though, but in many of the cases with lower wind, we bounced into the rough and rolled out to the fairway and had a wedge from that position. Still like kind of a I don't know if we're gonna get tailwind, but something that I wanted to mention at least, because that is a possible line, and if we do have a tailwind in master, that's the line I'm going to take. So hole number 5, and this one I'm actually gonna cover myself. Not that I don't trust RJ with his explanations, but that is because there was a typo in the original hole picture from Golf Clash team, which was, yeah, and many of us did, me included. I actually changed in the text guides earlier today when it went up for me as well. That it was new. So for those of you that have a different hole than this one in maybe text guide, because the link for patrons and subscribers on Twitch went out already this Thursday, so you scrap that, you take the link that is down there below, because this is the hole we're gonna play as hole number 5. And here is pretty basic. We're gonna play with a driver for all tees that give us distance and also topspin. I can say that the big topper here from rookie tee is actually gonna be a pretty good club with all that amount of topspin. The fairway works a little bit like a, I don't know what it could be called, not like bowl, but you know, the fairway from the left slopes a little bit to the right, the fairway from the right slopes a little bit to the left. So even if you great shot that one to the left or to the right, you're most likely still gonna end up on the fairway. And we do want to gain as much distance as possible and as close to the bunker you can see there in the middle of the fairway. For then go according to the black line, going towards the green to just get it onto the green, not to get an albatross, because that shot is super tough. So we're just gonna get it to green, make an eagle, and I think that's gonna separate definitely yourself as a player in this tournament from the others, because it's going to be a hole that you're gonna work a lot for getting this eagle. If we do have a headwind on this one, and that goes for second tee and also third tee, then we're gonna play up as we do with the driver normally, full blast down the middle. Then we go white line, we play out to the right, play conservative, and then we go either for a rough bump from that distance if we do have a crosswind. If we do not have a crosswind, we go with backspin, like a Saturn, Tsunami, a club with a lot of backspin, long iron then, and then we go for the back end of the green, let the ball fall back down towards the pin for hopefully getting that eagle in there. First shot, 10% downhill. Second shot from either, like if you shoot left, you shoot right, doesn't matter, you don't add anything. If we do go with a third shot from the right side, like the white line, that for the rough bump or for the backspin approach, then you're gonna add 10% for that shot as well. Big dog for rookie, big dog or cataclysm for pro and expert, or sniper or cataclysm for master. I'm counting with that if we do have a headwind, we pull the sniper, so we do have a easier time going for the rough bump, for example, from the right side. So there we do have hole number 5, and we're gonna go over to hole number 6. I'm gonna be quiet for a couple of seconds and leave it over to RJ. How do we play hole number 6, par 3?
Recording, I was talking to Tommy about that black line with that little pad there, and he said in the past, obviously he has no idea if they tweaked it or not, but in the past that's been a very consistent landing spot. Because of that, I would say go with a Viper with a basic ball. You're going to be at minimum distance though, and aim directly at the pin, once again with no spin. However, notice I said minimum distance. The only way that there's a wrench thrown in this is if we have tailwind and we need to back up for our adjustment. If that is the case, it's recommended that you bring a Goliath with a power 2 ball, and it's essentially the same shot. So you're looking at a Goliath with a tailwind, you're looking at a Viper with anything else, and save your balls.
Yes, and here from second tee, we're going to play with a wood club all the time. We're going to kind of be in mid distance, if I'm not mistaken, mid or max distance, somewhere in that range. And we're going to bounce on the pad there as well. I know the white line is there, but I do believe that going for the pad is the way to go. We're going to have to over adjust 10% for this approach, bouncing on the pad. For those of you that do have an old text guide of this one, will see that it says 0 for elevation here, but it's 10%. Super important that you play with that. 1 to 2 bars of topspin going towards the pin. This is, even though it looks like a hard one, this is actually going to be a decent one to get an hole-in-one. When playing in Master, we're gonna play with a driver. If we play with a power, like a power 1 ball, or maybe like a win 4, win 5 ball, and then we're gonna play with a quarterback. If we do play with a power 3 ball, might going to be that we're gonna be in between clubs, or we're gonna play with a wood club depending on the wind's angle here. And you know, this is once again a very good chance for making a hole-in-one. I remember myself doing a couple when it was this hole in Master the last time, so I'm really looking forward to it, and maybe we're gonna have the same win like the last time, then I'm gonna be super happy. So and once again, you know, you don't have to use any specialties here. And you see the white line, that's basically for those of you that do not feel confident playing on the pad, you can play with backspin, going from the left and go with a bit curl, but that's gonna be basically a way to just secure the birdie, not really have anything to do with the hole-in-one. There is a rough bump here, yes it is, but that rough is super inconsistent. That was tried the last tournament many times, not from just me, but from many other top players there in all types of divisions. And so therefore I just want to mention that, so don't spend a bunch of ball trying to dial that one in. I think that's just gonna be a waste of time. Hole number 7, another one, or like another one from the Sakura Hills. Also an interesting one, to be said. I don't know what I said there, but you know what? How do we play this one from the front tee?
All right. Well, from the front tee, I say we go with a 10% adjustment right off the bat, extra mile. I think a quasar is the minimum that you would want to bring with side spin and such. For your for your drive with the extra mile, you're going to want to go full top spin. Again, if we have a wind blowing at our back and you're playing with an extra mile 7 or 8 or something, well, yeah, you're going to have to make little adjustments not to go a little too far. But regardless of the fact, most rookies are going to be going with the full top spin with the quasar. Now the second shot is going to be a wood shot. The sniper with RB. What the heck is R? Oh, rough bump. I need to take better. I need a little key. I'm sorry. So yeah, a sniper rough bump, which is shown by the white line there, which I believe Tommy just said there was a rough bump on the last course that he wasn't a fan of. I think he will be a fan of this one if the conditions are right. Or you could go with a Viper or a Guardian with full right curl and full right spin, hence why we're bringing at least a quasar if the rough bump is not in play for you, if you're just not comfortable with a rough bump.
Yes, and I really enjoy this rough bump, and I think that's going to be the play for Pro Expert and Master Division players with basically whatever wind we're going to have. The only thing that I can think of is tailwind that is going to mess up due to going from a higher point to a lower point and gonna be a little bit messed up with the adjustment there. But in general, the rough bump there is gonna be the play. Straight down the middle, as RJ say, is same drive for every tee, 10% extra. Try to get up there to the last, or like to the second black marker, and then in the end you stand for a decision. If you do not feel confident going for the rough bump, it is a tiny rough, so let's say you have a crosswind, then it's a rough bump 100%, because even if you hit great left, great right, you're still gonna hit the rough, because you're gonna be aligned with that rough. If you do have a tailwind or a headwind and you don't feel confident enough going with the rough bump, then you play according to the black line. But just have in mind, playing on according to the black line, when you curl yourself around with backspin and side spin and also curl, you're gonna have a super hard time to get that one in for an eagle. I think I've been close a couple of times, but other times I could be like way short, I could be way long, and somewhere in between the other times as well. So then that's just a pure birdie line. So once again, the rough bump is the key there. But the important part with the rough bump is that it's played uphill, and that's the same for the shot from the left as well. We do need to under adjust, so we do need to deduct. I learned that word actually earlier when RJ said it. Said that we do need to deduct 20% for that
I
shot.
thought it was 5. I got to adjust my notes.
No, it's 20%.
Oh,
It
my
is.
bad.
So yeah, then we're going to be spot on. So
Oh, can I add one other thing real
sure,
quick? I'm
absolutely,
sorry.
no worries.
On the drive, rookies, I think pros and up already know this, but rookies, you see where that sand on the left juts out. If you're using full topspin, you should be able to set it up to where you're going to bounce before the sand, right about where the black line is, and then you'll see it bounce after the sand. So I just, when I remember when this was a brand new hole, and that always scared me. And the way around it is simply just topspin.
Yes, well said actually, because it's many of times, especially when I played this one now before, well, you can just put yourself up there, and if you do have a wind that is crosswind or tailwind, you could basically just take your shot from max position and with topspin, and you will not be playing with the bunker in any form. Hole number 8 is RJ's favorite hole, so I'm gonna let him take the ball here. So how do we play hole number 8?
See, at the beginning, you said I'm 1 year closer to 50. Playdemic shows I'm 1 year closer to 60 if you look at the shape of that sand. You guys are killing me. Anyway, some dad humor there.
Yeah, I know.
20%. I think 20% is the biggest problem people have with this hole, because it doesn't look like 20%, and you just wonder why your ball, I don't know if 10% of that comes from that body of water or not, but it just looks like you point and shoot, and it's nowhere near that simple. It is a very straightforward shot. It's just that it's so inconsistent with a green that slopes down that could leave you with a ridiculous chip or a ridiculously long putt that no one ever makes. So I'm saying 20%, sniper if you have it, Viper if you don't. But it's very important that either of these two clubs have a bare minimum of 4 backspin. So, you could use your sniper on some holes, even though it has 1 or 2 backspin. Not here. You need at least 4 backspin, or you're going to go rolling right past that hole and have a more difficult second shot than what's needed. Do not worry about a hole in one here. I don't think very many. There's always outliers, but really we want this ball to stop as close as possible for an easy putt. I would even say if you're having trouble in the qualifying and opening rounds, there's no shame in pulling up and trying not to get onto the putting surface, but trying to get your ball to stop on the fringe for an easy chip. Now, that's just something from me. I like to chip. If you don't like to chip, basically just don't go past the pin. That's like the biggest nightmare of this hole. I would go with at least a quasar with a full right spin and 1/2 ball of right curl. The reason we're going with the quasar or katana would even be better. I don't want to see people setting up right next to the sand and then hitting it great, and then their second shot they're using a sand wedge. Put that full right spin on it and move your landing position as far over to the left as possible.
I love how much we can hear the hate for this hole in your voice.
Oh.
I just it's indeed it's a very tough hole, and I think here that we do need to if we do know that we're gonna play 20% extra, we should be able to lock in the birdie at least. But also something that when we do play with a lot of tailwind or headwind, when we play it massively downhill, when its ball is going to be affected more by the wind, it's also going to be more effective when it comes to extended ball guideline and compressed ball guideline as well. So we do need to think about that. Like, let's say we do have a tailwind, we do need to go with 5-6 bars of backspin with our quarterback and aim basically with the tip of the ball guide line by the fringe, because the extended ball guide is going to be so huge that we're otherwise going to roll way past the pin or like bounce past the pin if we don't think about that. I'm going to play here with a driver for Pro Expert and Master T for basically, I would say, almost all types of wind. In Expert and Pro, and then we're gonna play with a wood club if we do have a like a straight tailwind, then we will have to do that. But with headwind and crosswind, we're gonna play with a driver. Master is a driver all the time. And have in mind there that we do want to have with backspin, if you do have a lower level quarterback, it's better to play with a rocket. In Master, if you do have a massive headwind, it's better to play with a Thor's Hammer or an Apocalypse. With backspin then, of course. So Thor's Hammer level 4, 5, 6, 7, or Apocalypse 6 or 7, not 5, because it does have a very low backspin if we do have a headwind, because then we're going to have to adjust so much up that the quarterback is not going to have enough distance for that shot. It's going to be a very tough par 3. This one is actually a hole that there is a good way to get an hole-in-one on from Pro Expert and Master T, in my opinion. I think that's due to the fact that we have been playing this hole, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 times in tournament. This has been a very frequent hole in many tournaments, just like an extra par 3, because it is a tough one. Play with power 3 ball Kingmaker, like with wind resistance 3 in Pro and Expert, Kingmaker, or a wind 5 ball in Master, then you're gonna be good. Last but not least, we're gonna play, I think this is a really boring hole. That's just my opinion. I know some people do feel, of course, the opposite, but we're gonna end up with hole number 9, par 5 of the Sakura Hill. So how do we play it from front tee?
Well, Playdemic has been listening to me at least, but I think also my group of friends, and saying we were not a big fan of scores like minus 30 or whatever. So like these par 5s that they've been putting out have just been so hard to get, the eagle on. Recently, the last 2 tournaments, I believe, they weren't gimmies like past tournaments. And this one here can definitely be a gimme. It can actually be an albatross if you have the perfect situation and your ball rolls up enough. But we're not focusing on albatrosses. There's a reason why you have more hole-in-ones than you have albatrosses. We're looking at a 10% downhill, so that's not really that big of a deal. I would say go with an extra mile and a Titan with full topspin and max overpower. Or, if you're lucky enough to have the big topper unlocked at this point, if you go with the big topper with full topspin with a tailwind, there's no reason to overpower it, and your ball will go sailing up there. Viper or a Sniper would be the preferred club if your ball does not go all the way up as far as Tommy's white line that you can see there. However, if it does go up that far, I recommend bringing the Backbone just because it's such an accurate long iron, and that's where I think the Albatross becomes a real possibility. I don't think there's going to be many of them, but it's definitely, if you get a Backbone, start getting excited.
Yes, I agree totally, and that makes all the difference in the world here. And that kind of from Pro and Expert and Master T, the wind is having a big factor here. If we do have a crosswind or a tailwind from second tee, we can reach over by bouncing over the rough and the sand, and then we're gonna do it. Even though we will have to go with max overpower with both type of wind. The reason I say both type of wind is that with a tailwind we can gain a lot of distance on the second fairway, so we do have a short iron or a long iron towards the pin. With crosswind, we do need to play with 100% overpower to even, I would say, have a chance to reach over the rough and the sand, and to have maybe a wood club towards the pin instead. 10% extra for the drive, and that's the same for the second, not exactly the same, but we take that in half and play 5% extra for the second shot, which is also downhill. And if we do have a headwind, and now I'm talking once again, like we say, crosswind, headwind from Master T, which is third tee, or headwind from second tee, then we need to lay up according to the black line. We'll lay up just before the rough and the sand, as close to it as possible. For the second shot, then we're going to have to bounce before the rough, bounce on the right side of that bunker to the left, where you can see in between the second and the third marker, the black markers there, to roll up towards the pin. Or more like logically, I would say, going maybe for a short wedge or something like that instead. And I think that's going to be something to really have in mind, so we're not because it's going to be easy to push you too hard and see, okay, I'm having a headwind, I pull out a wind 5 ball and try to go over it even, but that's gonna be too tough. Then we need to lay up. So we're gonna see what the wind is going to give us. If we're going to play according to the black line, the second shot is not 5% downhill, it's a little bit more, so it's 10% downhill from that position. Instead of going with the white line, it's 5% downhill for the second shot. Power 3 ball is a must here. I would also say, like with smashing tailwind, just as a quick special or like side note or whatever, a straight tailwind in master we had in the last time on this one. Then we could play with a globe, and actually snow globe, power 5, wind 0. We could actually reach the green, which was sick. I went out of bounds on this one, I remember. I went over the green and way out sailing. That was super weird. But in the end, that's a possibility. So, everyone, that was the text guide walkthrough for the Easter Open tournament with me, RJ, and his chicken or whatever that is. It's hilarious. So, and you know, we are very pleased for all of you that are watching this video when we go over it. Sure, it's a lot of talk and stuff, but there is also a very, like, it's a great amount of value in that. I'm going to be online already when the tournament starts, 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is also 8 a.m. UK time, and also 9 a.m. Central European time. We're gonna play all the divisions, rookie, pro, expert, and master. Then the playthroughs is gonna go out after that to give you all types of knowledge that you do need to have for this tournament. This is gonna be a long tournament this time, so we're gonna have 3 qualifying rounds, 2 days of opening rounds, just 1 opening round, but 2 days of playing for the opening round, and then 2 days of playing weekend round. I noticed there were a lot of players that misread that for the mini tournament, as they thought they had 48 hours to finish the final round when it was, yeah, only 24. So RJ, how is the schedule for your streaming this week to come?
Monday, I have the doctor's appointment, so we're probably looking at about 8, 9 o'clock at night is when I realistically get on. Tuesday through Sunday should be 7 p.m. is the time I've been sticking with. And yeah, so that's Eastern Standard Time. So whatever time it is in New York City, that's, well, not standard daylight now, but yeah.
Yeah, lovely. And as always, if you do have any questions to any of us, make a comment in the comment section below when you have watched this video, or when you are watching, it doesn't really matter. But make a comment and we will be there to help you out. Once again, thank you so much, and we will let the birthday boy end it here today.
I just want to say really quick, man, me and Tommy have a lot of fun making these videos. I could not throw him off his game, even with something like this, or sucking on a hot Taco Bell packet. This guy is locked and loaded, and I had a blast, man. I have a blast every time. You're such a professional guy. I love doing this. I'm looking forward to the tournament. Happy stroking!
Happy stroking, everyone.